Hi everyone, welcome to Cognify. So in today's session, we'll be looking at trigonometry. So in the first question, we are given a point, right? P x of y, which is a point on the Cartesian plane, and OP is equal to R. So this whole line here, right, is OP, which is equal to R. So now what we want to find is sine of theta over cos of theta. Okay, so now let's quickly go to our Cartesian plane here and divide some of the parameters, okay? So we've got x here, right, along the horizontal, and then we'll have y along the vertical. That's what we need to keep note of. And then the diagonal or the hypotenuse will be r. So now let us define what each of these here represent, okay? So sine of theta, okay, is simply, if we go to our angle here, it's simply the opposite over the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse here is OP, which is R. Next, with cosine of theta, we're going to represent it as what? Adjacent of hypotenuse. So the adjacent here is X, and the hypotenuse is R. And that is basically it. So now if we substitute that in here, we'll have Y over R divided by X over R. But we want to rewrite this in a neater format, right? So we're going to basically take the term at the bottom here and flip it around. So when we flip it around, we're then going to be multiplying, okay? So we're going to have y over r multiplied by r over x, okay? I flipped around these values here. So now what you'll notice is that r cancels out with r. So what we remain with is y over x. And that is basically x, okay? So y over x is equal to sine theta over cos theta, which is always also equal to tan of theta. Okay, so let us continue to the next part. In the next question, we are given a triangle PQR. Q is 90 degrees, R is theta, PQ is 5 units, QR is 12 units, PR is 13 units. So now we can apply what we learned in the previous question and find solutions for different trig values, okay? So now in 1.2, we've got different values that we need to derive. Firstly, for sine of theta. Sine of theta we know is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. Okay, so sine of theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So if we go here, what is that? So opposite to our angle theta is PQ. So we have PQ divided by then the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse here is PR. So now what are these values? PQ is 5 and PR is 30. And that is basically it. The next part, we want to find sec of theta, okay? So now this here, we can rewrite it as 1 of cos theta. So now from here, what are we going to have? So this is equal to 1 divided by cosine of theta. We know that will be adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, so the adjacent is 12 and the hypotenuse is 13. So now here we're going to have to flip this around, right? So when we're flipping it around, the numerator and denominator are going to swap. So what we get here is 13 over 12. And then the last question, here we want to find tan of theta, okay? And if we refer back to our previous question here, we can see here that y over x is actually tan of theta, okay? So if we go here, y over x would be what? It would be what would it be? So if we go here, right, it would have to be opposite over adjacent, right? So opposite is 5 and adjacent is 12. And that is basically it. So these are some of the methods, okay, that you can utilize when working with trigonometry. It takes a bit of practice, but once you understand the fundamental concepts, you'll then be able to tackle any other type of question. But that will be it for this video. Thanks. Please drop a like and comment. Till next time.